morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Discord. Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to another edition of WBE TV. Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. Let's see what we have by way of news. So, US news for 21st April 2026 at 8:30 a.m., which is about almost 5 minutes away. We have major impact news, core retail sales month over month, and retail sales month over month. Then at 10 a.m., major impact news, Fed Chair Designate Wash testifying, and then medium impact news, pending home sales month over month. As always, reduce the time between planning to plant that seed, planting that seed, and harvesting. Poverty loves procrastination. And now I look at our levels for the day. Our bull target is 27,003, and that was got from the daily time frame. Our hourly time frame target was 26,893, but that was hit before we started dropping. So 26,893 or 27,003. PDH 26,827, PDO 26,600, PDC 26,748, PDL 26,535. Our pair target is 26,788, and our pivot 26,831. And now let's see what we have on the chart. So as I mentioned earlier, we were kind of climbing all overnight, a few dips here and there. We peaked at our bull targets, and then we started coming back down. So, like I said, our bull target off the daily time frame is 27,003. But since we've come back down to our pivot, we could go back up or break below and continue coming down. It's almost 3 minutes to news, so just be patient. We probably should be getting a box forming shortly, so see how that plays out. Ghost in the building.
Hey, look who's here.
Morning, Ghost.
Pretty good, can't complain.
It's been good. Okay, so we've got a box forming. Where it's forming currently is indicating sells for us. So it is. Yeah, we're following the rules, so it's indicating sells. So if it closes below, we look for sells. But if it breaks and closes above 865, then we're looking at buys. So just bear that in mind. We are rejecting Tokyo high. Few seconds to news. Okay. Remember, if we close above 865, we're back. If it closes below the lower boundary, it's up. So the news came in positive. Core retail sales month over month, 1.9%. The forecast was 1.4. And retail sales forecast was 1.4 as well percent, and the actual is 1.7%. Okay, so concerning news, another news item was added to the calendar. President Trump speaking 8:30. So let's see how that plays out.
He's speaking at 8:30, huh? Oh boy.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But we have no trade yet. If we close it above, okay, we're buying. Close above our bond, close above the upper boundary. We'll buy. So entry should be about 863, 863. And let's see what we have today. If we get another one and done, what's going to play out? Whatever happens, right. So here is our entry. It's going to be interesting because, like I said, President Trump is speaking. Typically, when news is positive for the big T, price goes down. But these are not typical times. So let's see what happens. Let's see if we can find something about NHP. Okay. It's a phone interview conducted by CNBC. Rejected the bull breakout a couple times. Remember, I put break and close below the lower boundary. We close that trade and reverse the position. Okay, we get the close below. We have to wait for the candle close, so we might have to wait for some kind of pullback. So we close the candle. Okay, so we can sell at this point. Let's see what our next. So you can sell now, or you can wait for a pullback. It's about 843. And selling. Let's see how this goes. We came into the pivot in the PDH. We're rejecting that. So we caught an Iranian ship yesterday with gift from China. I thought I had an understanding with Xi, that's from Trump, and then we're ready to go militarily. US military ready to go in Iran. So if you waited for a pullback, could have taken an entry, what I said, 843. You took 843 and you're in big profit. If you took my entry at 832, you're currently at break even. So playing around at the pivots, PDH. Eight 4-3 entry, smashed 100 ticks. Entry from the close of the candle, tag 60 ticks. EDH report. You see, you get a rejection and then continue to drop it.
I'll be back, guys.
All right. Eight, 4, 3, and 3 is a 120 ticks. entry on the close of the candle, that's 76. If you took the 843, you should be protected by now. Choose to protect, take partials. However you want to play it. I'm saying that because with President Trump talking or having an interview, as soon as he's done, the market could just dump or it could just take off. So whatever you have, make sure you're protected, and then just let the market do whatever it does, right? So just bear that in mind. Protect yourself. Then if it continues going down, you're still in the trade. You take stops to the upside, at least you've locked in something, you're breaking even, whatever it is. So we're still playing in the pivot PDH possible bear reversal area. See? Eight minutes to the top of the hour. Let's see, we can come down to the meltdown area, the possible bear meltdown, and those sell side liquidity zones. Keep rejecting the Asia Open London area, London Open level as well. I'd like to see us break below that, close below that, and then take out the sell side liquidity at 805, and then London low 796 area. Two minutes to the top of the hour, 9 o'clock. Still rejecting Asia Open, London Open. It's the top of the hour. Going back. Okay, 9 o'clock, let's see what happens. 400 ticks smashed on the initial entry. The 843 entries at 150 ticks right now. So we tagged the sell side liquidity, the first one at 805. We're rejecting the possible bear meltdown zone. Let's see if we come back and wipe out the sell side liquidity, 805, and then around 798, 796. Break below that and establish a new London low. Come for the Asia low and the Tokyo low, and then also hit our bear target of 26,788. It's 906. We're getting close to market open, so protect your wins. Make sure you're locked in. If you have multiple contracts and you want to take some off the table, you can do that. If you would much rather protect and just let it run, you can do that as well. Whatever your preference is, just make sure you're protected. Best downside 805 wiped out, heading towards the second one. 796 London low, current London low. It didn't close below, so not fully wiped out yet. Okay. First entry clock 120, the 843 entry clock 160. 20 minutes away from market open. Also remember at 10 o'clock, Fed Chair designate Wash is testifying. One second, guys, I'll be right back.
right, I'm back.
I'm back. So buyers still holding for sales. About 8 minutes away from market open. Volume has died down though. At this point, just make sure you're protected and let's see what happens to market open. It could continue dropping or it could take off to the upside. But as long as you're protected, you should be fine. But these are some nasty candles. Or I should say nasty looking candles. Wow. Just dipped into the second sell side liquidity zone. Pull that back up. This is an interesting thing. And then tomorrow we also have Tesla earnings after the close. $25 incoming. got our box forming. If you're not joining the party, we're looking for sales. We're 2 minutes away from market open. And then 30 minutes after market open, we're having Fed chair designate Wash testifying. So currently in sales, we're just about a minute and a half away from market open. Make sure you're protected if you're not already. If you haven't taken any trade yet, we're looking for sales at this point. So we close below lower boundary, take a sell. If you're already in the sell, just let it play out. Just make sure you're protected. We have rejected London low a bunch of times, so I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I do think we'll still finish that downward move. Just have to wait and see. "30 seconds. Wow. See that spike down and that pullback? So those of us already in the sell should have made a ton of money right now. This is 200 ticks plus. New London low, we smashed all our bear targets. And if we close below here, you can take an entry. It's a big candle though, so you might have to wait for some kind of pullback. But it's a whole 146 and we're going. It's still going down. Okay. If you were late to the party, this is not the time to jump in. Just wait. It's like today's going to be another one and done day. Almost 400 ticks for the 843 entry. And for the other entry, the initial entry, 350 ticks. So everybody should be locked in. Some contracts taken off the table, runners activated, all that good stuff. Let this thing do its thing. Tag the PDC, establish a new London low. Let's see if we get a pullback here or if we continue dropping. If we get a close below the PDC, we'll probably continue going down. Make sure you have some contracts taken off the table. You only have runners going rapid at this point. So pushing. So for the first entry, 420 ticks. Second entry, 470 ticks. You joined us the 8, the 9 o'clock. They're kind of waiting for an entry. I mean, yeah. Best spot for an entry would be around 776 or 796. If you get a pullback to those areas, you can probably take an entry or sell. Other than that, you just kind of have to wait. All our candles are still closing at the PDC, so not sure if we're going to continue going down. Maybe we get some kind of deep pullback, then we continue downward. These candles are just nasty. Doji, doji, doji. Hammer. Boom. Came to 767. I don't know if anyone was able to jump in on that entry. Yeah, but 776 would have been a better entry. So, nope. So our new box has been formed. Even if we close above, I'm not taking buys. I'm not looking for buys. Because we could extend to the downside at this point. My bias for buys doesn't change till we get above 816. So let's see what an early entry of the OS will be. Other than that, still looking for sells. Or I should say, still looking at sells. Close to the daily open. Close to the 766. 776, I should say. So for those still interested in sales, this is your cue. Could have entered already, or if you wait and get a close below this upper boundary and jump in and sell. Let's do this multiple business. We do have a 2-minute and 5-minute time frame gap that this market will try and go and fill. Bear that in mind. That would mean a pullback all the way to about the possible bear meltdown area. Okay, let's let us what we are getting. Gap is basically halfway fill. Back to Tokyo low. You get a rejection from there. Come back down. You break them up, fill the gap. 10 minutes to fetch share, designate, wash, testify. Okay, so it's like we're closing that gap, almost at the top of the gap. we're at the point where I said I would start entertaining buys. So if we close above this level, it's risky though because we are close to the pivot in the PDH.
Don't overthink it. No analysis.
Yeah. I guess we'll just have to wait for another boundary to form.
What does your system tell you say to do?
The system right now is saying buy.
All right, let me buy.
Yeah, but we can't buy right now because the boundary is so far down. So we just have to wait till the next box forms. Right. But if it closes below 808, then we'll still be biased towards sell. But where it is right now, if it closes there, now our bias becomes high.
Right. No problem. These spots look good though.
Yep, they look very, very good. And remember what I was saying, if we're thinking about going with that OSOB early buy, we would have bought around 940.
940.
Right? 940. 940. Yeah, because that was the extreme, right?
Yeah.
I mean, latest entry would have been at 942.
Right.
So, yeah, it's big fun. We're digging into that buy side liquidity right now, injecting it. We have about a minute till wash. Fetch estimate wash starts to run. Go say, wait, why didn't you all take the reversal at 770?
770? Always been thinking about it.
Because we're not using the OSOB extreme reversal. We're using just the boundary with the band bias. Man. That was it. This was the move. Went a whole almost 300 ticks.
No, this thing's gonna take off.
Hold up. Yeah, I forgot that part of the rule. Damn. Kool-Aid, you have to keep me on my toes.
Oh, that's right about the reversal, yeah.
Yeah, that was more than 400 ticks. Damn. Yeah. That's absolutely correct. Completely forgot about that part. So yeah, I was right, but I forgot about that part of the rule. Because that would have been a perfect entry. Well, it is what it is. Yeah, goes to you absolutely right. 100% right.
Hey, don't beat yourself up over it. It's all right.
Nah. I'm not beating myself up. I'm just like, yeah, makes sense. I'm just kind of, because remember I called it out. I was like, yeah, we could take this, but I completely forgot about that 400 tick rule. You know, completely forgot. Absolutely. That's 100% on me. Ghost, can you check my message, my response? Let's see if we can get testimony. You can listen to it.
That your nomination goes in the direction of reinforcing why they should have confidence in the institutions. You've been nominated by the president to be the chairman of the Federal Reserve System.
Can you guys
The
hear?
Reserve plays a powerful role
Yeah, I can hear
in
you.
our economy. Monetary policy
Is it too
choices
loud?
by
It's
the
fine.
Federal Reserve
No, it's
can
good.
affect the Americans' ability to buy groceries, whether or not they can afford a home.
Something tells me
How
we're going
far
to
their
shoot up.
paycheck goes,
Either that or
especially
consolidate, but
at the end
let's
of
see
the
what
month.
happens.
And in South Carolina, I hear all the time how families are working hard, doing everything right, and still feeling squeezed.
Cool.
Bidenomics
Thanks, Chris.
made prices go up, and paychecks have not kept pace. Too many parents are stretching every single dollar they have just to cover the basics. And too many workers are wondering when the economy will start to feel stronger at their kitchen table, not just on paper. Congress, President Trump, and his administration are focusing on fixing the disastrous mistakes of Bidenomics to restore Americans' confidence in our economy. Through efforts like the Working Families Tax Cut Bill, we are helping Americans keep more of their hard-earned money. Compared to the average tax return under President Biden over 4 years, the average return is up 24% since then. Just in the last year, the average tax return is now around $3,400, an 11% increase because President Trump and his leadership decided to focus on hardworking Americans who are struggling to make ends meet, paycheck to paycheck. Nearly half the country, half the returns filed in 2026 claimed either a deduction for tipped income, overtime earnings, senior citizens, or auto loan interest for major parts of the Working Families Tax Cut Bill that every single person on this dais to the right voted for. Under President Trump's leadership, Americans are keeping more of their hard-earned money, about $300 more every month. It is necessary that Congress continues to put money back in the hands of everyday Americans, and that is why it is important. And I want to be clear here. That is why it is important that we confirm Kevin Warsh to be the Federal Reserve Chair. The Federal Reserve has a clear dual mandate to promote stable prices and maximum employment. The policies of the Fed therefore directly affect Americans' cost of living and their income. And when the Fed is successful in fulfilling its dual mandate, affordability improves, with Americans taking home more money and paying less for everyday necessities. Unfortunately, in recent years, the Fed has faced real challenges. There have been questions about its decisions, its focus, and whether it has engaged in issues far outside its jurisdiction. Under the Biden administration, the Federal Reserve appeared to move with the political winds, raising real concerns about politics and weaponizing one of the most powerful weapons we have for good economically, the entire Federal Reserve System. For example, under the Biden administration, the Fed pushed climate-focused initiatives only to reverse that climate agenda as soon as President Trump took office. When actions appear to shift with changing political priorities, it can undermine confidence in the independence of this great institution. An independent Federal Reserve is essential to achieving its mission. Markets depend on it. Families depend on it, and that independence must be protected. The American people expect the Federal Reserve to stay focused on the economy, not politics. Today's hearing is an opportunity to refocus the Federal Reserve on its dual mandate to increase economic stability and affordability for everyday Americans. Kevin Warsh is battle tested and brings the necessary experience from his time as a Federal Reserve governor during the Great Recession. During his first term as governor, he helped our economy through the crisis and restored faith in the economy. He has seen the economy in its darkest days and understands how economic decisions affect job growth, our economy, and the opportunities that we have come to love as Americans. We want every citizen in this country to have a chance to live their version of the American dream. And that means having our private sector economy running as strong as possible, which means your focus has to be on everyday Americans and not politicians, not the political wins, but on everyday Americans who desperately want to restore their confidence in our institutions. Today, this committee will examine the plans Mr. Warsh has for his return to the Fed, this time as chair, and how he plans to lead the institution at a critical moment to deliver lower cost and real relief for working families. For folks back home in the great state of South Carolina and across the country, the goal is simple. They want lower costs and more opportunities. The Federal Reserve plays a key role in bringing prices down and helping wages go up. Confirming Kevin Warsh will make sure that affordability is at the center of our economic agenda. Senator Warren is now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And if I may, I just want to start by saying one of our members lost a child yesterday. And I know our hearts go out to Mark Warner and his family, and that is true on both sides of the aisle, that we may disagree on policies, and we may do so vigorously, but when it comes to the safety and security and the health of our families, I know we are as one, and we are praying for them.
And Ranking Member,
Thank you.
I think it'd be appropriate for us to take a few seconds of silence on his behalf. 36 years old, one thing you don't want to do as a parent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and appreciate all you do. So we should not be having this hearing today. And here's the context. First, over the past year, President Trump
This thing is now
has
breaking the
racked up
75
one
area.
economic
This thing is
failure
just
after
holding.
another, and Americans know that. Consumer sentiment just hit its lowest level on record ever. Inflation is rising, and families are paying more for groceries, more for healthcare, more for utilities, more for housing, all thanks to Trump's chaotic tariffs and one big beautiful bill. And now his war with Iran is putting American troops.
Hey, Ghost, I sent you a
in
message on
and
Telegram, so
further driving up the cost of nearly everything here at home.
let's check it out when you're ready.
Second, in your testimony, you said it's perfectly fine for elected officials to state their views on interest rates. But that is not what Donald Trump is doing. The president has repeatedly and illegally attempted to take over the Fed. His bogus attacks on Governor Lisa Cook and Chair Powell were designed to threaten all the members of the Fed to do Trump's bidding and open more spots for Trump flunkies. Why try to end the independence of the Fed? Because Trump's economic failures are causing him political problems, and he wants the Fed to use monetary policies to artificially juice the economy in the short term, and this is his last chance to do that before the November elections. Having a sock puppet in charge of the Fed would also give the president access to the Fed's powerful authorities to enrich himself, his family, and his Wall Street buddies. It could mean granting special accounts to his family's crypto company or bailouts to his friends on Wall Street if they get into trouble. In other words, a Fed under Donald Trump's control creates more opportunities for Trump's corruption. Third, the nominee before us today, Kevin Warsh, is uniquely ill-suited for the job as Fed chair. In our meeting last week, we discussed the 2008 financial crash, where 8 million people lost their jobs, 10 million people lost their homes, and millions more lost their life savings. Giant banks, however, got hundreds of billions of dollars in bailouts. Mr. Warsh was a Fed governor from 2006 to 2011. That's before, during, and after the crash. And he said to me that he has no regrets about anything he did. So let's take a deeper dive into Mr. Warsh's record. In the years leading up to the 2008 financial crisis, he was an enthusiastic cheerleader for credit default swaps and complex securitizations. He dismissed repeated and increasingly urgent concerns from housing advocates across the country regarding subprime mortgages. He refused to use the Fed's authorities to address the risks that were building in the financial system. And when the crisis hit and the economy blew up, Warsh took on the job of Wall Street's personal liaison on the Fed board. He was quick to respond to concerns from Wall Street CEOs, and he worked tirelessly to arrange multi-billion-dollar bailouts for them with nothing for American families. No regrets, he says, no regrets. After the crash, most people on the Fed saw millions of Americans unemployed. People who'd lost their homes and said, now might be a good time to lower rates and make the cost of borrowing cheaper for businesses to avoid more layoffs and make it cheaper for Americans who are worried about paying their mortgages or their credit cards. But not Mr. Warsh. Nope. He wanted to keep interest rates high. And he sang the same song for more than a decade, even as the economy struggled. When the job of Fed chair became available during Trump's first term as president, Warsh held on to his high interest rate inflation hawk views, and Trump passed him by. Regretful, he soon reversed course and called for the Fed to pause interest rate hikes. Then, once Trump left office, Mr. Warsh flipped again and was even criticizing the Fed for cutting rates in the fall of 2024. But as soon as Donald Trump became president a second time, Warsh reversed himself once more and began shouting from the rooftops about how the Fed should cut interest rates. Evidently, he learned his lesson. This time around, he sucked up to Donald Trump to snag his dream job. Mr. Chairman, last week, every single Democratic member of this committee asked that you postpone this hearing and instead conduct oversight on the president's role in directing bogus criminal probes into Chair Powell and Governor Cook. The Senate should not be aiding and abetting Donald Trump's illegal takeover of the Fed by installing his chosen sock puppet as chair. It's an invitation for corruption and for economic catastrophe. We have the power to stop it, and we should be using that power. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, there you have it. I'll just say it is interesting that we're going to hear from Senator Dave McCormick in his introduction of Kevin Warsh, who was last time unanimously confirmed by the United States Senate. Unanimously confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Dave, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Warren, distinguished colleagues. It's really a great honor to introduce my friend Kevin Warsh and welcome him and Jane here today. Kevin has been a friend for many years. Winston Churchill observed that for great leaders there comes, and I quote, a special moment where they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing. What a tragedy, he warned, if that moment finds them unprepared for that which would have been their finest hour. Colleagues, I'm here today to assure you, as someone who knows Kevin and who knows this institution, that Kevin Warsh could not be more prepared for this, his finest hour. There's no one more fitting, no one more qualified to face this consequential moment as the 17th chair of the Federal Reserve. Now, I'm not going to belabor Kevin's academic and professional record. They speak for themselves. Instead, I'd like to tell you about a man who Dina and I worked with decades ago and who has been someone I've called a friend for almost 30 years. President George W. Bush famously appointed Kevin to the Federal Reserve in 2006.
Very sniper,
Kevin was just 35. He was the youngest appointed board member in history. But President Bush saw in Kevin what I believe you will see in him with your questions today. Wisdom that belied his age, now deepened by experience. A moral clarity even in the most turbulent of times. A sharp and independent intellect, further strengthened by decades immersed in unforgiving global financial markets. And a deep, honest understanding of how the decisions made in the marble hallways of Washington affect the lives of hardworking Americans. Now, I, unlike many on this committee, have seen these virtues on display across decades of friendship. I first met Kevin in the late 1990s when he and my younger brother were junior associates on Wall Street. And a decade later, we served together in the crucible of the global financial crisis. I as the Undersecretary of Treasury for International Affairs and Kevin on the Fed board. For nearly 2 years, we worked hand in hand to contain the damage and navigate the country through the crisis. And I know that then Chairman Ben Bernanke relied heavily on Kevin during those turbulent times, and I did too. And I've continued to seek his counsel regularly in the years since. Now, Kevin came to Washington all those years ago as an outsider, an idealistic young man determined to serve his country, one who has succeeded beyond all expectations. And he returns today as the ideal candidate to lead the Fed at this most crucial juncture. If confirmed, Kevin will inherit a Federal Reserve in need of repair and confronting serious uncertainty. An overextended balance sheet, a poor record on inflation, and a weak understanding of the profound opportunities offered in today's economy. He is uniquely suited to confront these challenges. He brings a reformer's heart. He will shake up a stagnant institution at a time when change is sorely needed. He possesses a deep understanding of markets and is trusted by leaders across the financial industry. But he equally understands the real economy. Born and raised in upstate New York, he knows from personal experience how the actions of the Fed can change the lives of working families. It's no small thing. It's no small thing to know firsthand how an increase in gas prices or mortgage rates or an uptick in unemployment affect everyday Americans. The Federal Reserve must not be ruled by pointy-head economists poring over outdated models and reams of market data. It needs a leader. It needs a leader who understands that the Fed's mandate of stable prices and maximum employment serves a higher purpose, the preservation of the American dream. Now, colleagues, Kevin Warsh has lived the American dream. I know in my heart he will always fight to keep that dream alive for all Americans. He is the right man for this pivotal moment, and I urge you not to get caught up in the politics of the moment and support his speedy confirmation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator McCormick. I will now swear in the nominee. Will you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Do you agree to appear and testify before any duly constituted committee of the Senate? You may sit down. Your written statement will be made part of the record in its entirety. Please keep your oral comments to 5 minutes. Mr. Warsh, you are now recognized.
First contract of that
Thank you,
cell.
Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your consideration today. I've known you for quite a while, and I certainly appreciate
Yeah,
the many
it looks like
courtesies
the
you've
market's
given
trying to
me,
figure out what they
not
want to
just
do,
since the
but
president's nomination, but long before. It's an
this
honor to be
4 hour
with
day,
you,
this
with
4 hour
Ranking
fixing
Member
that
Warren,
is crazy.
and with the entire committee.
Stuck
I'm
up
deeply
there.
grateful to President Trump for asking me to take on this public trust, because that's what it is, a public trust. The president believes that real economic growth in the U.S. and real take-home pay will accelerate, I share the President's confidence in our country and its people. America's economic growth potential is rising as we sit here today. I'm also especially happy that my wife Jane is here. She's been with me for many of the most important moments in my life. I'm grateful for her love and her personal accomplishments. I reciprocate that with somewhat of my own love, though I'm a little more stoic than she. And about every 20 years, I reintroduce her to this committee. She sat behind me 20 years ago, and it was almost 20 years ago to the day. And so let me offer today what I said then. Jane, happy anniversary. I'm also thinking of my late mom and dad. They were paying great attention to this hearing 20 years ago. They're no longer with us, but I was always proud of them and the values they taught me, and I hope they'd be proud of me today. We start today with a note of broad agreement, even though we might have heard different narratives at the outset of this hearing. This is a time of great consequence for the nation's economy. As a former Fed governor and friend or colleague of the last 5 Fed chiefs, from whom I've learned plenty of lessons, I'm particularly alert to the challenges and opportunities confronting the institution that I cherish, the Federal Reserve. To the President, to the Congress, the nation, I owe my best judgment and my most faithful efforts in serving the mission that you and Congress assigned to the Federal Reserve, including full employment and stable prices. The American people are counting on the Fed to deliver on its commitments, perhaps now more than ever. The real highlights of my life are not on my resume, as Senator McCormick said. They include the individuals with whom I worked and from whom I learned. I graduated from high school in upstate New York. I had some exceptional teachers there and some brilliant classmates. I've learned we're lucky in life if we start out with good influences in learning and in character. A public school education gave me both of these, and I'm grateful. I made my way to Stanford and found myself in the company of some of the most highly accomplished economists and policymakers. George Shultz, former Secretary of State and Treasury, was among the great patriots at the Hoover Institution, who I came to know as a teacher, mentor, and friend. He passed away right after COVID at age 100, but I still feel him with me. I could not have imagined a better formative experience than working from and learning from folks like him. I could tell you about all the things I learned, but maybe the most important was to be around people completely devoted to the ideas and ideals of our country. Silicon Valley in the early 90s, another fitting backdrop for all the things we confront today. I found myself in the right place at the right time. The US was at the vanguard of a new era of technological leadership, and I just looked out my door to see it. Now, in the last 15 years, I've gained deep experience in macro and in markets, working with Stan Druckenmiller. He never held a position in government, but is no less a patriot. He never got a PhD in economics, but I don't know a finer economic thinker. Without their guidance and the guidance of Condi Rice, my friend and I should say my boss at the Hoover Institution, I doubt I would be sitting before you today as the President's Fed Chairman nominee. But I'm certain of one thing. Absent their tutelage, absent their example, I would not be as prepared for the urgent, mission-critical task at hand. In between these bookend experiences, I served quite a while ago as a governor at the Federal Reserve. At the onset of the financial crisis. As Senator Warren said, our central bank played an indispensable role, and we benefited enormously from the credibility that our predecessors had built up and passed down to us, governors of the Fed at the time. In these unusual and exigent circumstances, I saw the Fed and its people at their very best. But I also witnessed an institution that was tempted to play a larger role in the economy and society. So let me be very clear. Monetary policy independence is essential. Monetary policy makers must act in the nation's interest. Their decisions the product of rigor deliberation, and unclouded decision-making. And as Senator Warren said, I do not believe that independence of monetary policy is threatened when elected officials state their views on rates. Fed independence is up to the Fed. That has three implications. First, Congress is tasked with the mission to ensure price stability. Inflation is the Fed's choice. Second, Fed independence is at its peak in the conduct of monetary policy. And third, as the chairman said, the Fed must stay in its lane. I'm committed to ensuring that the conduct of monetary policy remains strictly independent, equally committed to work with the administration and Congress on non-monetary matters that are part of the Fed's remit, and I commit myself to accountability. Finally, I'll just say this, Mr. Chairman. Milton Friedman had a phrase that always stayed with me. He always worried about government officials that lured and hung around with what he called the tyranny of the status quo. Status quo practices and policies are especially harmful when the world is changing this fast. If confirmed as chairman, I will be faithful to the Constitution, to the Federal Reserve Act, and to the very best of the Fed's traditions. I believe a reform-oriented Fed can make a real difference to the American people. And if confirmed, I will seek to create an environment in which the best people do their best work. Candor and goodwill will go a long way in pursuing those objectives. And I suspect this hearing, Mr. Chairman, will put us to the test. It's a real privilege to be
Thank you,
here.
sir. I will say that we typically stick to a 5-minute opening comments. I would encourage all of us to stick with our 5 minutes as it relates to our question and answers. We have full attendance today, and it's going to be really important for us to stick as closely to the 5 minutes as possible. If we go over by much, you'll hear me, which is an indication that you're already over, and I'll do my very best to keep us on time. Kevin, there are so many questions to talk to you about, to ask you about, to be honest with you, and I just want to name a couple of them, and we'll look forward to hearing more on these topics. I will not have enough time to delve into some of the most important issues facing our country. I'll take 2 of those issues and focus my time. I'm sure my colleagues on either side will have a conversation with you and ask questions about AI. The AI future is going to have massive impact on where we go as a nation. It's going to have a massive impact on your dual mandate as it relates to full employment. Our production may go up while our employment stays flat. So this is a really important question that at some point we should delve into. I also think that someone should spend some time talking about our balance sheet. We have nearly a $7 trillion balance sheet at the Federal Reserve. Too much attention has been paid to your balance sheet, and not enough attention has been paid to the nation's balance sheet. And I think it's really important for us to dig into that issue as well. Digital assets, the future of finance in the world seems to have a major component of it being digital assets. The market structure legislation, we don't want your comment on, but the important role of the blockchain in the future is another really important part of the future of our economy. I will spend some time talking about affordability and the importance of the independence of the Fed. One of the things I've appreciated about your previous comments is the importance that you have placed on the dual mandate, stable prices, which typically comes through the form of interest rate changes, as well as promoting maximum employment. I think those two will become more
Oh boy,
challenging.
I was talking on mute. Okay.
The second one being
boy.
AI and the future of full employment.
Sultan?
You've criticized
I will say
for getting too big,
I will call it a day
mismanaging
on the
inflation.
YouTube
I'm
stream.
sure you know
It's
the definition of
8:35.
transitory, so I won't ask you, but I got a feeling you
A
know.
day on the YouTube
Some of
stream,
your
and then we'll
predecessors
just
did not compromise
talk in
on the
house
independence
for a
of the
little
Fed. I
bit.
think we should spend more time
But yeah,
on
quick
finance,
recap.
less time on climate change, politics.
We got our first entry at
who is
8:34.
in charge. I think you would agree on those
That was
issues.
a buy
I will not ask you. I will
based
ask
on
you,
our bias,
however, that under your
and
leadership,
we had to reverse our bias
steer
around
the Federal Reserve
8:40
to
because
address the real
our bias
life
flipped
issues
sells.
of affordability?
So we
That's my
lost the
first
first
question.
trade,
And my
131
second
ticks,
question will be,
32
how
points
do you
basically.
make sure that the Federal Reserve
So then we jumped
stays
into the
out of the
sell at
lane
8:40.
of external influence?
Initial entry was about 26,830.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That was the first
There's
entry.
probably no
And then
more
those who waited
pressing
for the
question
pullback
than the
got an
cost of
entry
living.
at
We know at the
26,842.
Federal Reserve
right?
that price
Both
stability
entries
was an
went
objective that
400 plus
you and your
ticks.
colleagues
The
gave to the
initial
Fed.
entry was 420,
So when
and
over the
then the
course
second
of the
entry
last several years,
off the
especially
pullback was
after
466
COVID,
ticks.
when prices
So
went
as you
up
can see,
to the tune of 25 to 35%
we made money.
for
We
virtually
basically
all
covered
deciles of
the
the
loss
American
we had
people,
from the first trade,
that's an indication
and
that
then
the
made some
Fed
extra,
missed its mark.
right?
And we are
Ghost
still
reminded us
dealing
about
with
the
the
reversal
legacy
trade
of the policy
from the
errors
very
of
bottom that we missed.
2021 and 2022.
That one ran about also
Once
another
you let
400 plus
inflation
ticks,
take hold in the
right? But
economy,
we didn't
it's
take that
more
one. I'm
expensive
just
and harder
talking
to
about
bring
it
it
because
down.
it's something
So
we should
the
remind ourselves
fatal
about,
policy
right?
error
So
going
all
back
in
4 or
all,
5
we
years
made
is still
about,
a legacy
at
that
the
we're
very
dealing with.
least, 300 ticks
We need, in my
for the
judgment,
day,
fundamental policy
and
reforms to fix it.
that's a
And
good
while it's
day
true
in
that
anybody's book,
inflation is less
right?
problematic, meaning
So
the rate of
on
change in
this note, we'll call
prices
it a day
is
on
less
the YouTube
severe than it
stream.
was some years ago,
Thanks for
hardworking
joining us.
Americans are no doubt feeling it.
As always,
I
don't
think
forget
that
to
means a
subscribe,
regime change
like,
in the
comment,
conduct of
and
policy.
share.
I think that means a
And
different
if you want to
new
join us in
inflation
our premium
framework.
channel,
I look forward
reach
to
out to
working with my
WBE Master
colleagues at
on
the Fed,
Discord
if
or
confirmed, to
Telegram
achieve that.
for access.
I think it means, as you suggested,
Once again, this has
using
been another
tools
edition
differently.
of
The
WBE
Fed has
TV.
an interest rate tool and
Thanks
a
for
balance
joining us,
sheet tool.
and we'll see you
My
again
view is the
tomorrow.
interest rate tool gets in the
Goodbye,
cracks.
everyone.
It's fairer. The balance sheet tool disproportionately helps.